Well, good morning, my friends. How are you? Happy Friday. Happy Veterans Day for tomorrow for my American friends. And, and all of the soldiers who have fought for their countries. I honor you as well. My father-in-law is a retired lieutenant colonel, served in World War II, Korea, and I believe he went to Vietnam or wanted to, or that was my uncle. I'm not sure, I can't remember. Anyway, he'll be 100 next Easter. So I honor him and think about him often for many other reasons too. But, and also my nephew, who's in the military. I don't know where he's at right now. It's sort of hush-hush. So anyway, thinking about him and hoping everything is okay. Lots going on. Of course, our president is in Vietnam right now, speaking of Veterans Day. Isn't that interesting that he's there? I think definitely planned. So I'm sure that Putin and our president, Trump, will definitely be talking. I can't imagine them being in the same place and not speaking. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Lots of other things going on in our news, and with taxes and people finding out, people finally speaking out against the Clinton machine syndicate, crime syndicate. And just a lot of naive people just don't know, just how horrible that family really is. And the deaths and the toll always just keeps climbing. And during the presidential election, I had been looking at a YouTube video that had to do with Bible prophecy and interpreting the hidden codes in the Bible. And one of the hidden codes said that Hillary was an abomination to the Lord. So that was enough for me. Anyway, onward and upward, shall we? We're in St. John, chapter 19. And so I'd like to get going and reading that to you now. Then Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him. The soldiers platted a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put him in a purple robe. And they said, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they smote him with their hands. Pilate therefore went forth again and said unto them, "Behold, I bring him forth to you, that you may know that I find no fault in him." Then came Jesus forth, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. And Pilate said unto them, "Behold this man." When the chief priests, therefore, and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, "Crucify him, crucify him." Pilate said unto them, "Take ye him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him." And the Jews answered him, "We have a law, and by our law we ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God." Then Pilate therefore heard that saying, and he was more afraid, and went again to the judgment hall, and said unto Jesus, "Whence art thou?" But Jesus gave him no answer. Then said Pilate unto him, "Speakest thou not unto me? Knowest thou not that I have the power to crucify thee, and have the power to release thee?" Jesus answered, "Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore he that delivered me unto thee hath the greater sin. And from henceforth Pilate sought to release him. But the Jews cried out, saying, If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king speaketh against Caesar. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he thought he brought Jesus forth, sat down in the judgment seat in a place that is called the Pavement, but in Hebrew it's called Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour, and he said unto the Jews, Behold your king. And they cried out, Away with him, crucify him. Pilate said unto them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priest answered, We have no king but Caesar. Then deliver he him therefore unto them to be crucified. And they took Jesus and led him away. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of the skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha. And you can actually see that place today, and you can see it, in the side of the hill. It looks like a skull, and you could see the place where Jesus was crucified, and right next to it, practically, is where he was buried. So they delivered him therefore to be crucified, and they took Jesus and led him away. And he, bearing his cross, went forth to a place called the skull, which is in Hebrew Golgotha. And when they crucified him, the two other with him on the other side, one, and Jesus in the midst of the both of them. And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. The title, when read, many of the Jews for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and it was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Then said the chief priests of the Jews to Pilate, Write not the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am the King of the Jews. Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written. Then the soldiers, when they had crucified Jesus, took his garments and made 4 parts to every soldier a part, and also his coat. Now the coat was without seam, woven from the top throughout. They said therefore among themselves, Let us not rent it, but cast lots for it, whose it shall be. And that scripture might be fulfilled, which said, They parted my remnant among them, and for my vesture they did cast lots. These things therefore the soldiers did. Now they stood by the cross of Jesus, his mother, and his mother's sister Mary, and the wife of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene. And when Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple standing by, whom he loved, he said unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. And when he said to the disciple, Behold thy mother, and from that hour that disciple took her into his own home. After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were now accomplished, and that the scripture might be fulfilled, said, I thirst. Now there was set a vesture full of vinegar, and they filled a sponge with vinegar, and put it upon a hyssop, and put it to his mouth. When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, It is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit, the ghost. The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was the high day, besought Pilate, and that their legs might be broken, that they may be taken away. Then came the soldier and broke the legs of the first and of the other which was crucified with him. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was dead already, they broke not his legs. But one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side forthwith, and came there out blood and water. And when he saw it, bare record, and of his record is true, and he knoweth that he said is true, that ye might believe. For these things were done, that the scriptures should be fulfilled, a bone of him shall not be broken. Again, another scripture saith, they shall look on him whom they've pierced. And after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Jesus, but secretly for fear of the Jews, besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Jesus. And Pilate gave him leave. He came therefore and took the body of Jesus. And there came also Nicodemus, which was at the first came to Jesus by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloe, about 100-pound weight. And they took the body of Jesus, wound it in linen cloth, with the spices, as a manner of the Jews is to bury. And in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre, wherein was never a man laid. There laid they Jesus, therefore, because of the Jews' preparation day, for the sepulchre was near at hand. So it was right there. Anyway, I'm going to stop here, chapter 20, and continue with my next video if I have time. Yeah, I'll do one more. Okay, happy Friday to you guys. Leave me comments, thumbs up, like, and subscribe, only if you like it.